And we will begin with Taylor Anderson. Taylor, do you want to start by giving your elevator pitch?
Sure thing. My name is Taylor Anderson. I am a senior English major with a concentration in creative writing and a minor in communication arts. I would like to pursue a career in book publishing, and after graduation, I would like to find a full-time job.
Katie Ash.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie. I'm a junior psychology major and I'm minoring in sociology. And in the future, I think I want to go into something with counseling and mental health, preferably in a school setting. And after graduation, I would also like to find a full-time job.
Angela Dubé. Chandler Farley.
Hi everyone, my name is Chandler Farley. I'm a senior studying in the Commonwealth Honors Program, working to earn my Bachelor's of Science in Business IT with dual minors in Computer Science and Marketing. After graduation, I'm looking to pursue a full-time position in the business sales aspect of the IT industry. Thank you.
Brooke Fenton.
Hello everyone, my name is Brooke Fenton. I am a sophomore finance major with a minor in economics, and in the future I would like to pursue a career in the financial field, and after graduation pursue a full-time job.
Ashley Fenton.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Fenton and I am a sophomore finance major, also with a minor in economics. I would like to pursue a future career in finance with the ultimate goal of finding a job in the finance department of a larger corporation. Thank you.
Nicole Fernandez. Huoi Fratello.
Hi everyone, my name is Hui Fradiello No, and I am a senior international business major with a minor in Chinese. I would like to pursue a career in intercultural communications or sales. Thank you.
Haley Hadge. Mark Haskell.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Haskell. I am a sophomore international business major with a minor in marketing. I would like to pursue a career in the nonprofit sector and in post-graduation find a full-time position. Thank you very much.
Kiara, I think Haley came on.
Haley Hadge.
She needs to unmute.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, my name is Haley Hadge. I'm a freshman at Framingham State and candidate for Bachelor of Arts in English and concentrating in film studies with a minor in digital humanities. My current hope is to just be successful in my remote learning this semester and next semester with the long-term goal of possibly seeking a career in professional writing. Thank you.
John Carlton.
Hi, I'm John. I'm currently a junior management major with a minor in business information technology. I'd like to pursue a career in human resources after graduation, and I'm currently looking for an internship for this summer.
Alex Karasik.
Hi, my name is Alex, and I am a computer science major, and I am a junior with a math minor, and I'm hoping to find an internship sometime soon.
Cara McCarthy.
Hello, my name is Kara McCarthy. I'm a senior English major with a concentration in journalism and a minor in history. And my hope after I graduate is that I will find a full-time job in either journalism or professional writing.
Ivania McField. Jenna McMahon.
everyone, my name is Jenna McMahon. I'm a senior communications art major with a concentration in organizational and corporate studies. I would like to pursue a career in event planning, and after graduation, I would like to find a full-time job. Thank you.
Olivia Renda.
Hi, I'm Olivia Renda. I'm a sophomore English major with a minor in secondary education. And after graduation, I really hope to find a job in the school system as an English teacher.
Alexa Roach.
Hi, everyone. I'm a senior fashion design and retailing major with a concentration in merchandising. And I would like to pursue a career as a merchandise buyer after graduation. And I would like to pursue a full-time job. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. We have a lot of talented people and soon to be very talented people entering the workforce. I highly encourage you guys to connect with employer partners who have shared their contact information. And now we are going to pass it to our wonderful Penny, who made all of this possible. Thank you, Penny.
You're too kind. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for your individual introductions, and your elevator speeches were obviously very well thought out, and you practiced them all so well. Great job. And Wendy gave a great introduction. My name is Penny Lewandowski. I'm the recruitment manager here at Middlesex Savings Bank, and been here almost 15 years in January, and have been in the recruiting field for a long time. So I'm really excited for you guys in this venture that you're in. A lot of schools don't offer suitable solutions. And it is very important, the skills that you are learning, maybe some of them you think they're a little silly, but they are very important. And so I am proud of all of you and the program that Framingham State has put forth, and proud to work for Middlesex Savings Bank, who has supported this program as well. We have a charitable foundation that was established back in the year 2000, and part of our profit sharing goes into to give these grants out to organizations like Framingham State. We have actually doubled our endowment over the past 4 to 5 years, and we provide over $6 million in grants to local organizations in our footprint. So we do say we're committed to our local footprint and organizations. So we don't just say it, we actually do it. So it's a lot to be proud of at Middlesex and Framingham State. I did put my contact information in the chat. It's a little unknown if we're going to have intern programs this upcoming year. But as we know, the way 2020 has gone, anything's possible with the ever-changing environment that we're in. So should you need anything, questions about resumes, negotiations, job postings, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm here to support you in your journey.
Thank you very much, Penny. That was very helpful and inspiring, and we know who to call now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce formally Paul Joseph, who is our networking navigator, who's making this evening a comprehensive, wonderful experience for all of you. Paul Joseph is the founder and CEO of Context, a management consulting and business education firm focused on helping businesses evaluate and pursue new opportunities for growth. He's also the co-owner of MetroWorks, a native-based co-working and flex office business. He has more than 30 years of business experience, including sales, marketing, executive management, and most recently serving as the president and CEO of the MetroWest Chamber of Commerce. Paul has also worked as director of product marketing for 2 local software companies, as well as vice president of a consulting firm focused on market validation and go-to-market strategies for technology-based business. Paul is a graduate of Cornell University, where he and his best friend started and ran their first business. He has since earned an MBA from Babson College and has taught at the college level and in various business and executive education programs. He and his family have lived in Natick for over 20 years, where Paul has served on the town's select board and as a member of various town committees and boards of local nonprofit organizations. When he's not working or spending time with his family, Paul can be found walking or running with their dog, Moxie. In September of 2020, Paul ran his 26th full marathon, the Boston Marathon, for the Alzheimer's Association of Mass and New Hampshire in honor of his mother, Barbara. Paul, your resume doesn't even do you justice. You're remarkable. Whenever we've called, you've answered our call. You've shown all of our students so many remarkable techniques and strategies for networking. We are so grateful to have you here, and we welcome you and thank you. And now you can take it away from here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wendy. I appreciate it. And I couldn't have written a better introduction if I tried. Oh, wait a minute. No, thank you very much. I love being here. Welcome and congratulations to the Suitable Solutions graduates of the fall 2020. As Wendy said, I've been doing this for the last few years in my former capacity with the Chamber, and I'm still a Chamber of Commerce member, but I'm running a couple of businesses locally. And wherever I possibly can, I definitely am a big fan of bringing people together, helping individuals find connections, and really, especially now with COVID and several months of COVID behind us, really trying to understand what's challenging people, and the best we can, we owe it to each other to help each other out. So I'm thrilled to already see most of our employer partners have already put contact information in the chat. We are a group of people that are committed to your success. You've made the commitment to go through this program, and with thanks to Penny and Middlesex Bank and some of the other sponsoring businesses like Macy's that support this program over the years. It's a tremendous opportunity that you have at Framingham State. So thank you for allowing me to come back. And it's great to be here with the Career Services team, and guest appearance by Dawn as well. So with that, I risk boring you to tears with PowerPoint, but as a former consultant and a marketing guy, I live and die by PowerPoint. So I'm going to throw up a couple of slides and we'll see how where this takes us for the duration of the session. Obviously, because we're not in person, it's going to be difficult to convey everything perfectly. So what I wanted to do was assemble essentially a presentation that gets you thinking about networking. And I'm going to go to a couple of websites a little bit later on, but I wanted us to really kind of reflect on, why do we network? What is it that's important about it? We'll get to some techniques for how to do it. And if we have a little bit of time at the end, welcome your questions through chat. I know it's going to be difficult with so many people on here, but I did build in a little bit of buffer time for that conversation, because I do believe in dialogue with these types of presentations. That said, I wanted to kind of start with kind of thinking about, well, networking is really just about making contact and connections with one another. It's not necessarily because of the direct tie that we create with the first person we contact, but it's the network effect. What does that person do for us, and what can we do for that person to reach beyond the immediate relationship? So when we think about networking, it's like social media. It's not necessarily your contacts that are going to get you that job. It's your contacts' contacts that might, or even a third degree beyond them. But all of this starts with a sense of, what is it that you've got to do to establish and develop your network? And it begins and ends with communication. So I hate for this horribly academic slide to kick us off, but I've got a few of these concepts, and just kind of think about what I'm saying here. You don't necessarily have to take notes. There's not going to be a quiz at the end. But when I think about the, sorry, I'm just pulling up the tools here. When I think about the process of communication, let me get my spotlight here. There we go. We think about communication as coming from us, the sender. What is it that we're trying to convey to somebody? Now, many of you are on this, here, obviously celebrating your graduation, but you're looking for something at some point, whether it's a contact that might introduce you to that next employer or first employer or internship, or really just somebody that can give you some more information to help advance your education and career. You are the sender. You're the product here. You're the one that's basically thinking about what you need to convey. You're going to convey that through nonverbal cues. You're going to convey that through the words that you use. And so the things that you do personally, how you speak, how you dress, where you are, encodes that message, whatever that message is, in your package, if you will. And that message is the all-important message that I am here. I'm here because I need something, and I have something to offer in return for that. So the network is an exchange, right? And we think about the message that we want to convey, whether that's an ask or that's something that you're giving. Whatever it is that you're trying to convey then needs to be decoded by the person or the organization that's receiving that message. So very simply put, this is a constant process, whether it's a live event and you're networking and walking around a room, whether you're doing it through Zoom or an online forum or over the telephone, however you're engaging with people, the elements of communication are the same. How you do them might be different. Obviously, then we listen for responses. We watch somebody's response. We might read a response and provides us feedback with how to then send our next message. A lot of times things get wrapped up in the noise. We're stressed, we're anxious, we're feeling insecure. You know, you get that tight feeling in your stomach when you have to go someplace and you're not comfortable necessarily being there, or you're going to be speaking with somebody that you're nervous to speak with. It's very natural. And I think we all go through that depending on where we are in terms of our self-confidence, what information we have, and really the relationship that we're trying to establish. So I really wanted to kind of start with this very fundamental thought that we are products, right? And we have value to transfer to somebody, so somebody can basically improve the quality of their life, improve the performance of their organization. And so when we think about networking, don't think about it of what you're asking for, think about it about what you're offering. Because the truth is, you have value, tremendous value to the organization that will hire you. You have value to the customers that those organizations serve. You have value to your families for being employed. And when you think about that, you've got a tremendous springboard in Framingham State and in the Suitable Solutions program to get you into a place where the community at large will understand, appreciate, and respond to that value. But to effectively exploit that, you really need to think about yourself as a communicator. Okay. There we go. So this is a very busy slide, but I want you to kind of bear with me for a minute. It's called the bowling alley model. Wendy had mentioned one of my past lives, I was a software product manager. And a very popular book several years ago, like 30 years ago now, was called Crossing the Chasm. And it talked about marketing when we go to market with products and we go to different market segments. So we might sell software, for example, into a banking industry. And then we might take that software and rather than sell it to the banking industry, we might sell it to the insurance industry. And the reason I use this model to think about networking is really, if you think about the relationships that you're building, it's like you're going into a bowling alley and you're striking that first pin right in the front. You're going to make your first contact, contact one, which you can see at that bottom circle there. I'll spotlight that again. Oops, let me get the highlighter. I think that works a little better. Bear with me for a moment. There we go. So down here at the bottom of the bowling alley, it's really the front bowling pin that we think about. You are the product. Remember, we're talking about what it is we're putting into play. And the market in this case is where we're going to do the networking. Doesn't matter if it's online, if it's in person. Like I said, you could be doing it remotely by the phone. You're going to be making a contact with somebody in some place. Now, when you think about the impact of that, where does that first pin go? Well, you can do something basically the same and say, look, I have a trusted relationship. I've got a personal relationship with a contact, and that contact is going to carry me to different places because she or he knows important people, whether they're in this organization or the organization I'd like to work for, or an association like a Chamber of Commerce that might have member businesses that I'd like to network with. So you can basically leverage that personal relationship to take you into new places. The other way to think about your reputation and think about networking is where you take it. So while you might not rely on that same contact, because you have a certain affinity for a place, you're all at Framingham State University right now. So you've got your family, right? Your Framingham family, friends and family. So they're going to take you to different places just by your relationship with Framingham State. You're going to be basically introduced to other contacts that either have gone to Framingham State as fellow alums or future alums, or they might be folks like myself. I didn't attend Framingham State, but I love the program and I've worked closely with different programs throughout my last several years working in the community. And so as you think about your networking, and now I changed the slide and I've actually put some names in here. Kiara, I hope you don't mind I barred you as my point contact number one, because you've been a phenomenal contributor and participant in this program over the last few years. But my thinking was, if everybody on this webinar right now sees you as their primary contact, right? You're a member of the family, from Framingham Friends and Family. You personally, because of your interactions throughout this program, could bring people to the Chamber of Commerce, right? I saw Stephanie Hirschon, the executive deputy director of the chamber, is on this webinar as well. The Metro West Chamber is a tremendous resource for you to reach into, especially local employers that could be looking for interns and for long-term employment as well. But because Kiara has been involved in the program for the last several years, I know she knows people at the chamber, and she also has contacts. I went onto your LinkedIn. She and I are first contacts on LinkedIn, and I saw that she has a contact at Cal Antonio Construction here in Metro West, a major construction firm. So if you're interested in getting into the construction industry, Kiara is a great personal relationship to have because she can bring you to different organizations in the Metro West area that may or may not be hiring interns and employees. At the same time, as I mentioned, Framingham State itself, your network, starting with the academics that you're in, your faculty, your administrators, your support services like career services, you have so many resources right at your disposal. And then you've got bozos like me that come in from the outside. By the way, I am wearing my training Framingham State shirt right now as well. So I like to promote the brand wherever possible. I've gotten to know a lot of people at Framingham State over the years, including my former board of directors member, President Cevallos. So just through the Framley network, the relationships of your reputation that come from your reputation of the place that you are can carry you into different types of relationships. And then you've got the overlaps from there. So again, I'm trying to go through this fairly quickly, but conceptually, when you think about networking, and especially in the world of a virtual network, you have a variety of ways to make contact with people. Before COVID, we'd be sitting in a room, we'd have 100 people in the room, networking, socializing, having mocktails and talking about how to get brave enough to go and shake someone's hand and introduce yourself. And we'll talk a little bit about those techniques as well. It's important to have the in-person skills. But don't let COVID, don't let virtual slow you down. Okay, the world hasn't stopped because of COVID. In fact, one of the best comments I've heard about today is that COVID didn't change the future, it just brought the future to us at a faster rate than we were ready for. People were expecting another 10 or 20 years before we'd all be online and doing things virtually like this, but it's been a tremendous boom for certain types of businesses. You now can apply legitimately across the country and around the world to jobs that otherwise might not have been accessible to you before COVID. I have a good friend who's a CEO and a former client of mine down in Austin, Texas. He said it was kind of scary, but their company, they're hiring people literally globally. They used to have a geographic requirement that you lived close to the home office. They got about 400, 500 employees at this point. And he said it's been a tremendous opportunity for them because they're seeing talent that they never would have. So think about the conditions that you're in. And there's always a silver lining. I think it's important to be creative about that. Let your contacts guide you. And it doesn't take much. Every one of you already has a place, right? This place, this home, Framingham State, and the community that's been built around your education and your success is tremendous. I see several people on this presentation today that are committed to your ongoing success, even beyond the graduation. So the other piece of it that I want to think about in terms of networking, and I mentioned this before, is think of yourself as a product or a service. Right? And we think about giving exceptional service, exceptional customer service, or, if you've been serving in a restaurant or retail, what service is involved. This is a chart. It's an old copy of something. I apologize for the ugly picture. But basically, when we think about things, we have consumers and we have marketers. So you are the marketer in this case, right? And I'm going to just go through these really quickly. Oops. Sorry about that. So when we think about you, your network is the consumer in this case, and you are the business marketing. What's important when we think about the quality of service or that value that you're bringing to the table, think about it in terms of serving a meal or selling a product. Okay. And again, that product is not just you personally, but what you're going to do for the organization and for that employer organization's customers or stakeholders. So what's really important when you think about the quality of service, and again, I'm not going to go in every detail of the picture, but look at those words. Somebody that's delivering quality service is reliable. Okay, when you're networking, you want to project this, your reliability for something. That means if you've been invited to attend an event or if you're planning to participate, be there, be somebody that the participants can count on. If it's a communicative or interactive type of medium, you want to make sure you're contributing in a value added way. Okay, you want to be responsive. Okay, number two, if a customer has a question and you're selling something, you want to get back to that customer as soon as possible. The same is true for employers. The same is true for your supervisors. Okay, and it's important that we understand responsiveness is not necessarily reactivity. It should be something that's deliberate. It should be something you think about the same way we thought about what is communication at the beginning of this presentation. Be deliberate in your networking. Think about why you're engaging with this person and think about what you have to offer or what you need from that person in a sequential way, just like those bowling pins. Number three is assurance. We want to make sure when we're selling something that we assure the customer that they're going to get the quality product or service that they had asked for. They want to be confident in you. And the confidence in you by them starts with the confidence in you by you. And I think that's one of the hardest things, especially for young professionals, to overcome, is that anxiety of how do I have enough confidence to have this conversation? I don't know this person. I'm scared to introduce myself. What if they say no? This is my dream job and the only shot I have of getting it, which isn't true. We build up these boogeymen in our heads to think about all these ways that we're not going to succeed. And I think, and I'm speaking as a former, very introverted person. I have had a very hard time speaking in public and certainly in private situations. I'm not the kind of person that naturally opened the door and did things first. I've overcome that with a lot of practice and a lot of experience, and it's teachable. But what's really important, and you've heard the phrase "fake it till you make it." It doesn't mean being disingenuous or not authentic. You want to be you. But when I say fake it till you make it, I'm talking about a mindset. If you're not brave, pretend you're brave. If you're nervous, pretend you're not nervous. It's important to project that confidence, because when you're confident, you're assuring the person who's listening to you that you're not only worth talking to, but I can get something, I can benefit from knowing you. Okay, very important. Fourth is empathy. And in my opinion, empathy is by far the most important of these qualities, because it basically you need to understand the customer from their perspective backwards. If you're selling a product, and again, if it's you and you're looking for a job, it's not just that you've learned this information at Framingham State. It's not just that you understand how to solve problems more quickly or creatively. It's not that you're such a unique creative that you're going to basically, publish the best novel or produce the best graphic design. It's more about what does your ability to do that do for the buyer of your service. So if you're going to be employed by a company that wants somebody would want to go into book publishing, what is it that you have to offer them? What is it that they need to succeed? And how are you going to contribute to their success? So when we talk about empathy, that's about standing in the other person's shoes. Okay. When we think about networking, it should be the same thing. Why are you here? What are you hoping to get out of this session? What did you learn today that you weren't expecting to learn? Engage people in interesting conversations, but try to do it from their perspective. That's the best way you're going to learn. And more importantly, it's the best way and most effective way to accelerate the impact of your networking. Because if you really take an interest, not only in other people, but other people's maybe unspoken needs, right? It's something that you tease out of them through an empathetic approach. You're going to be an extremely valuable and interesting member of somebody's network. And then lastly, the tangibles. In this case, I would say the tangibles are delivering, right? Make sure that you're giving the service that you've promised. Okay. If you've been hired to do a job, make sure you're delivering that product on time, ideally on time, ahead of time, or under budget, right? So there's always a service aspect of things to make sure that you're executing on. Again, I'm going through these fairly rapidly. We can come back to any questions later. At the end of the day, those of you that might be in sales might have seen this, or if you're studying sales or marketing, there's a very popular model called the AIDA model. It's awareness, interest, desire, and action. And you can think about this pyramid as a building process. Everybody that markets, everybody that networks, everybody that sells, everybody that communicates, their goal is to drive towards some action, whether that action is to hopefully elicit a job offer, or that action is to elicit a meeting from somebody, or that action is truly to sell a product or service. You can't do that if there's no awareness by that organization that's hiring, by that person that you'd like to meet, that they need you, or they need services like that what you have to offer. So awareness is awareness by the buyer, by the employer about you, or by the network partner that you're working with. So it's important that they basically have an awareness that they have a need. Okay, they might not be thinking about it until they have a conversation with you. And I apologize to Wendy because I gave her that very, very deep and long introduction about myself. The reason I did that, I've got a lot of experience from, different types of jobs in my life, and I do, run these marathons, and I've done some stuff. I love my dog. I gave you a lot of hooks there. And it's really important that, if you're interested in adopting a puppy, if you're interested in running for the first time, if you're interested in software product design, if you're interested in running a nonprofit, if you're interested in starting your own business. My business partner and I as undergraduates, we started and ran a bartending school. And I did that for 5 years. I bought him out, and then I went on to graduate school. So if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or marketer, or as I said, nonprofit person, I've had experience in all those different areas. So part of that was just giving awareness to you about my background, because now if you need something from me, you can approach me in a variety of ways. And I did put my contact information in there as well. If I can be helpful, I want you to know that. So we're generating awareness that there's a need. Then there's interest. Okay, what are you doing to create an interest about what you have to offer? Okay, you might have had an exceptional experience at Framingham State, but you know what? That internship that you got really puts you above and beyond some of the other candidates. So having an exceptional experience, projecting your experience to that employer is going to be really important. Having something that differentiates you in a networking conversation will make you memorable. So while it's important to exchange business cards and it's important to have quick conversations, even in an in-person networking session, if you're there for 30 minutes or an hour socializing with people, at best, you're going to hope that you're going to intrigue somebody enough to want to follow up with you. Okay, so generating that interest is really important. Next comes desire. This is now where it's like, okay, I'm interested in solving my problem. I'm interested in hiring somebody, but now I really want to hire you. Okay, as you're pushing the product of you on me, or in a networking situation, you're basically sharing something that's really of interest and value to me. That desire now becomes very specific to you and what you have to offer. And then ultimately the action, what is it that we need to do as a next step? So think about networking very deliberately. If this pyramid gives you at least a simple format, there is a goal in mind. You do want to get here to take some action. Be very thoughtful about each step in the process. Like running marathons, you don't do 26.2 miles until you take one step. But you better believe before you take that one step, you should have a plan for every step after that. Okay. Yes, you may have to make adjustments along the way. You have to dodge people. You have to step over, sewers and all kinds of crazy things. You don't necessarily know that the path is going to be a line. The paths are going to be like this. But at each step, you want to achieve a certain goal. And when you're networking, it's really important that you keep people engaged along the way. Okay, now the last one, this kind of cyclone called the virtuous cycle of word of mouth. Okay, and then this is a sort of a generic marketing picture, and I'm going to make it more personal for networking in a moment. But when we think about word of mouth marketing, okay, and I teach a couple of classes in marketing and brand management, the awareness piece really starts with visibility and exposure. Okay, so not only does the customer, the buyer, know that they have a need, but basically you need to create that visibility. When Steve Jobs and Apple created the first iPhone, people didn't know they needed iPhones, but they sure realized they needed portable music and something in a compact device that allowed them to make a phone call. So just awareness and building visibility or exposure. Apple really started these product launch events where you have the CEO standing on a stage and sort of creating that mystique about what it is they're doing. And that creates buzz. People start talking about it and they love it. Oh my God, this is really interesting. Not only do they love it, they're infatuated with it. They can't stand the thought of living without that iPhone or whatever it is that they need. And so as a marketer, our goal is create this hype, right? And the goal is to get those early adopters and the people that just absolutely have to have it. And in this case, it being you working for them, we want them really excited about that, to the point that we want the customers talking about our brand. It's not important that Steve Jobs or Apple Corporation talks about the iPhone. We want users to talk about the iPhone. We want our network members to talk about us. Okay. We want to impress upon people that we are so valuable, that we are so interesting, that we are so relevant to what they're trying to accomplish, that there's nobody else but us, that they're going to talk about us and get excited about it, because they're the ones, it's not necessarily our first contact, it's their contacts that are going to potentially give us the hire, right? So when we think about marketing, the goal is to create the awareness and then jump into this sort of hype around it, and then eventually sell the product. Now let me translate this into networking, okay? To build that awareness, we basically have to get out there, or in this case, online, okay? And there are a variety of ways to do that. I'm gonna jump to a web browser in a moment. We can look at a few examples of where to go to network online. In a pre-COVID world, we'd be networking right now. I'd be in a big room with you. We'd be breaking out, doing exercises. You'd be eating probably better food than you're eating right now. I can say that for a fact because I'm cooking tonight and I love the catering that's always been at those events. But the point is, get out there, put yourself in play, okay? The only guaranteed loss that you're going to have is if you don't try. Okay, so take that moment to be brave and get out there and start engaging. Okay, this is the word of mouth piece. How do we engage? Well, in an online environment, you might go to a community page on a Facebook group, or maybe some other article that has comments on it. There might be a place where you can make a comment or put a post, or create a virtual meeting. Maybe through Meetup, there might be some online or in-person meetings that are going on. Introduce yourself, get into action. Next, the question is, what is it that you have to offer? Why you? What is it, the value that you're offering? Okay, so this is where we start generating the interest. This was infatuation before. We want people to love you, not just what you have to offer, but because it's being offered by you. And I know a lot of us are very humble about that, but when it comes to networking, we're basically creating a situation where we're seen as the one. We want to differentiate ourselves because that makes us memorable. We want to be so unique that our first level contacts are willing to put their personal and professional reputations on the line for you. Okay, and that's a very important and very serious request. So you should take your networking seriously. I do have a lot of contacts in LinkedIn, I have to admit, between my past life in the chamber and teaching and being in politics a little bit. I've got so many people in there. The truth is, I've accepted link requests from people I don't really know that well. But I will tell you this, if people have contacted me because of an environment or contact that we've had in the past, I will go to bat for them. I might not know the person they're asking me to introduce them to on LinkedIn very well, but my personal policy is, if I'm linked to somebody and somebody else wants me to make an introduction, I'll do it, even if I don't know the person I'm introducing them to very well, because LinkedIn is designed for that. It is designed for networking. And as I said before, you want to create that excitement by being relevant. Did you do your homework? Did you do your research on these employers? Whether it's Middlesex Bank or United Way or MathWorks, I see a bunch of different companies on this program today. It's important that you bring your unique self to the table and bring it and make it relevant to them. Okay, don't just say, I do this. You should be thinking, because I do this, your company will benefit, and your customers will benefit, and your employees will benefit. Okay, so think about it in terms of that. We talked about empathy, from their shoes back to you. Stay relevant, stay valuable, and then you'll achieve your goals. So again, think deliberately about your networking when you're doing it. And last but not least, I don't know if she had checked out. I just got a quick thank you, but I want to congratulate and thank Dawn Ross in particular. I know she has retired officially from Framingham State. And, she really did a lot for this program. And for me personally, I've really benefited from her friendship and mentorship. So I can basically guarantee that everybody that's put their contact information in the chat is willing to talk with you about careers. I don't want to put that burden on Dawn, because I'm sure at this point, Dawn's just trying to kick back a little bit and
Paul, I
Oh, you are
did
there.
put my contact. No, I texted you. I know you're not reading your text, but I
I
said,
actually saw your text. I
bravo,
tried on. Thank you.
bravo.
But
I mean,
this is the
this
tribute
was
to
the
Dawn.
this was the best one ever. You hit a home run, my friend.
So yeah, you're looking good in retirement, Dawn. I just wanted to say, in the spirit of empathy, you know, we all wish you the best. And this is not empathetic. This is empathetic. We are now in Dawn's shoes, looking out over the water. I hope you have a wonderful retirement and have many happy memories and relationships because of what you've done for every one of us. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
You're getting me emotional, so I'm muting.
She's feeling verklempt. Before we finish here, I do want to jump around for a moment and share one more screen with you. Bear with me for about 2 more minutes, because I threw a lot of information, a lot of frameworks at you. I know some of you are bummed. You're like, oh my God, this is a class. I didn't think I was getting a marketing credit for being here tonight. But I want you to think about where you go from here. Okay. COVID's not going to last forever. Thank goodness. And hopefully it's going to be over sooner rather than later. And the resources that are available to us online are pretty varied. The Chamber of Commerce is a great resource locally based in Framingham. They have several hundred members right now, and they're hosting regular referral groups, networking events. I know they've got a big reception coming up in December where Santa Fe Genzyme and a bunch of local officials get together and they talk about political things and economic development. Whatever your interests are, there's either an organization or an employer or a group that's talking about it, that you should throw your hat in the ring. Okay, remember I said be brave, do something. Commit to me, commit to yourself coming out of tonight, that just because COVID's in place, you're not going to stop yourself from networking with somebody or some organization before the holidays come up. You got a couple of weeks here to find some place to go. Another place to go is some local organizations that, you know, publishers, for example, the Boston Business Journal. Now, I do have a subscription, so some of this might be proprietary, but there are plenty of organizations that are offering free events right now. And when you think about the type of event you want to go to, many women on this webinar right now, right? You want to think about women leaders in our community. Well, they're doing a whole conference on women who need business. And I know we've got the Metro West Conference for Women was virtual. And you know, there's a great opportunity. You're going to see people online that in other venues and pre-COVID, you might never have gotten close to. But look at the titles of the women presenting at this organization's event. Now, can you afford a $200? Oh, this one's only $30. So there was a $200 one before, but for $30, you can go and participate in this coming up. And the reason you want to do it, obviously, is to listen and to learn, but get some research. Be relevant to some of these people that might be saying something very unique about their corporate culture, because that's the hook that you're going to use when you go onto LinkedIn. And let's say, you know, looking at this person from Vertex, for example, if you want to get into the life sciences field and, you know, you see that somebody from Vertex, the CEO, is speaking, well, you know, if that CEO says something that's extremely interesting to you, now you've got an excuse to go into LinkedIn and find people like me that might have a contact at Vertex or a contact of a contact at Vertex and say, you know, I'd really like to explore a career at Vertex. Do you know anybody? And I was on this event and I was really appreciative of what the CEO had to say about their position with X, right? It gives you information, it gives you ammunition, if you will, to kind of arm yourself to go and have that conversation with confidence. Locally, we also have the Mass Hire group. The Mass Hire is basically the state's employment and workforce board. And so they have a website, a Facebook page and a group. They just had a virtual career fair a couple weeks ago, but they do these things regularly. You know, they basically highlight employers in the community. Great opportunities to be online with a group of like-minded prospective employers and potential future coworkers. Another one is through Eventbrite, right? If you go to Eventbrite's site, I just pulled this one specifically, again, for female empowerment. There's an event coming up on December 4th. There was, you know, again, lots of participants here. You can basically participate online, engage in chat, engage in breakout rooms and so forth. And same with Meetup. You know, there's a bunch of these social media sites out there. So I'll leave it to you to decide which ones make the most sense for you. But you know, at the end of the day, as I said, I think what's really important about networking is understand the why. And not just your why you exist, but why are you networking, specifically networking? Okay. And again, it's about the relationships that you have, not for your own benefit, but for mutual benefit. So when we think about the network effect is a very large scale thing. 99% of the time, it's not the immediate contact that you make that's going to hire you. It's that indirect person that's going to hire you because you've instilled confidence in somebody else like myself that got to know you. Look, Kiara, we've interacted a handful of times. You know, I didn't know her well coming into this, but you better believe if and when she contacts me and she wants a reference, I will give it to her. She's phenomenal. I've been watching her for the last couple of years, and in a heartbeat, I would recommend her to somebody as an employer, as an employee. So it's really important that I think, you know, we understand that each of us has intrinsic value, even if we don't feel it. It's there. Okay. Your job is to help somebody else discover what it is, and maybe start by helping yourself discover what it is. And you've got a lot of people on this webinar right now that have already done that and that are willing to do more to help you do that. So I'm going to end it here. We got about 10 minutes left in our planned time. I know it's a little off script, but if there are any questions, if people want to raise your hand or whatever, we can do a little bit of dialogue, and otherwise I'll turn things back over to you, Wendy. And if you're interested in the slides, I'm happy to share them. I just wanted those sort of talking points to keep us on track.
I can't believe nobody has a question for the infamous Paul Joseph, who has all the answers. Come on, somebody's got to want to know something while you have the opportunity from him.
And some of the answers are true.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
Hi, first, thank you so much. Oh, that was so sweet. I was wondering, just because we are in a virtual world with COVID, how can we stay connected? Or how do we, like, say if we go on one of those sites that you mentioned and we see a CEO speak and something like that, like how do we actually put ourselves out there in a way? Like, I feel like you mentioned me, and I feel like I've been able to build a reputation because in person I can really be personable, but it's really difficult, I'm finding, and I can't imagine for those who don't have a network already to build that and stand out in a virtual world. Are there any tips or any major takeaways that we can take?
Yeah, I think the two words I think about, Kiara, are, and I used them before, relevance and value. Okay, why do you matter to them? And not what you have to offer, but how they will benefit from what you have to offer. Again, going back to that empathy for a minute. So I'll give you another example. Right before this, I was literally on a 5-hour web training event, going through a business simulation that I've taught. I've used it before, but I wanted a refresher from the vendor to teach me how to use it. Well, they actually taught us how to use this business simulation by running us through it. So I was actually just taking an online class, and they put us into breakout rooms so we could train with other trainers. And I met a person from the United Kingdom and somebody from Africa on my team of 3. So just literally for the last 5 hours, I had these 2 people that are, they're both educators. They're both in industry as well. So we had a very interesting conversation because of a completely separate issue. We were there for workforce training and a simulation, but we got to know each other as people. And it was one of these just, you know, there's so many free things going on right now. Organizations are trying to stay relevant themselves. So many businesses are hosting events, right? And it's not necessarily just HR. Don't necessarily limit yourself to the tactical process of getting a job. You know, if you want to work in tech, software companies are still having virtual trade shows. They're having virtual product demos. Go to these events, you know, engage with engineers and product designers or user interface, UIX designers that you know, are going to be the people that you want to meet. It's harder, Kiara. I acknowledge that, you know, a lot of us do work better in person, but I will say this, a lot of people work better online. You know, the truth is some people feel more confident doing that. By the way, I'm very thrilled because I finally got my standing desk in my house. I've been doing this whole presentation standing up, whereas this time last year I was sitting down. The nonverbal emotion and authenticity I can deliver just by standing up is tremendous as well. So when we think about how we're engaging in virtual events, if you're sitting there watching a webinar and you're sitting in a chair disengaged, or you're getting up to let the dog out, or you're getting a refreshing cup of coffee, that comes through. Okay. If you're hooked. If you're leaning into that camera and into that microphone, I think that does project itself as well. So don't let the media, remember that first slide I put up talking about the media, how you're packaging your message shouldn't matter. Whatever you're doing, be all in. And I think it's important to don't presume what you're doing. The primary reason, like taking a class, is going to be the network benefit. Again, I got to know people on a different level, on a personal level, because I was there for something completely different. So be open to new opportunities and open to networking in some place you never really thought of as a networking event.
Anyone else have a question for Paul? Going once? Going
I have
twice?
one. I would say, Paul, obviously you have so much information to give us and we're so thankful for that. But what would you say would be the most number one greatest takeaway from what you've said today and something that you use daily?
Something that I use daily. Nice question. Here's a terrible answer. I can't tell you what your number one takeaway is. Okay. And that's what I use daily. Is I'm generally naturally an empathetic person. I'm an empath, and that honestly sometimes makes it hard to be a leader because it's sometimes seen as a weak trait. But one thing I do remind myself sometimes is I do see the world differently, and that is valuable. And so it's not so much what I think you should think is the most important. It's you understanding what matters to you and then connecting that to why that should matter to me. So the fact is, your question, Chandler, tells me that you want to boil the essence of this up into something simple as a takeaway. That's a compliment to me because you came to this hour for your own graduation, but you want to walk away with something memorable that you can use, right? So you just paid me a huge compliment by asking me that question, right? And I think with each of you, it's important to understand what is it that you need, but you're going to achieve it not necessarily in the direct way. I mean, I intentionally used the RAM logo on my slides today because I think in some ways people think networking is about, it takes a hard head. It takes that persistence. It takes that confidence to charge forward. But honestly, to achieve what you want to achieve, it's almost the softer and the reverse of that. So to me, I do try to stick to my guns. It doesn't serve me well all the time, I have to say. I've had some fabulous failures because of it, but every failure has been a great learning experience.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Time for one more, or is that it? Anybody else?
Fake it till you make it. If you have that question, ask it now. All right, I'm tapped.
Okay, then I'm going to thank you, Paul. I can't believe how much your brain works, okay? I'm beyond impressed. So thank you all for participating and attending this final event as part of the Fall 2020 Virtual Suitable Solutions Professionalism Program. We are so proud of these students that have just graduated from it. Their commitment to this virtual program during this COVID time is exemplary. And I want to thank again Penny Lewandowski and Middlesex Savings Bank Charitable Foundation. Literally, I'll say it 1,000 times. We couldn't have done it without you. And I am going to echo Sarah Falba and Don Ross's comments that Paul Joseph, this was the best one ever. I don't even know how, if we ask you to do it again next year, you can even hold a candle to what you just did. It was remarkable. And once again, stealing the well-loved line from Don Ross, my fearless mentor and leader, I want to thank you all for your time, talent, and treasures that you give so freely to our FSU students. But I want to give the very last word to Dawn. I'm not ending this, Dawn Ross is. So take it away, Dawn, and I'll say thank you all. Good night. I appreciate everybody's help with putting this together. Dawn, you're on.
All right, I'm emotional now anyway. Thank you, Wendy. Oh my God, while we were on, I got like 6 messages from a former student that, was thanking me. And so it's very emotional, but I want to tell you, I'm so proud of my last Suitable Solutions class, and hopefully the new director will keep this going. If you guys we always let everybody come back, Kiara, 5 years. And, if everybody says we need to have this program again, I'm sorry. I'm just very emotional. And Wendy, I didn't expect her to do this, but I'm very proud of everybody. Thank you to all our employer partners, especially Paul. Like Paul, I was texting you saying, "Oh my God, this is the best one ever." And of course, Wendy. Like Wendy, you hated to do this, but you did it so well. So everybody deserves a round of applause.
Thank you.
I see my former interns and my students. So I just want to say, I really believe in this program, and for students to get help with their professional and career development and get $100 for clothing. And Penny, you've been there all the time. I'm sorry, I'm emotional, so I'm gonna end it now. But this is my last event. So thank you for making it the best event ever. Thank you so
We
much.
love you, Dawn. We love you, Dawn. We love you, Paul. We love you, Penny. I love this Sarah team. Thank you. Paul, any final words, or we're saying goodbye? Paul, anything else?
No, why take away from that? Good night, everyone. Have a happy and safe holiday, and God willing, we do it in person next year.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.